Welcome back to Keeping It Real, everybody. Fall has definitely arrived. You can see the leaves on the trees are changing colors, and it's time for us to go through the garden, collect everything that we can, and start getting our beds ready for winter. This is the area where we had our tomatoes, our pumpkins over on that trellis. We had potatoes and summer squash through here. And those beds we've pretty much already got cleaned out. I'm gonna go over and check them again. A lot of our pots here by the greenhouse are already done, but we need to get this area cleaned up so we can cover the greenhouse for the winter. And our trellises here, where everything was climbing over our pumpkins and everything, those have been cleaned off as well. So now it's time to go in and get picking on our peppers that still are growing in the garden. These peppers will probably get put into the freeze dryer to save. We're grateful for how many peppers we got this year. But these peppers still have blossoms on them, so we're going to let them go just a little bit longer and hope we can get some more. It was a rough year for beans this year, so we're saving these for seed for next year. And you can see a lot of them have gotten nice and dry for us already. So as we're pulling these up, we're making sure we get all the beans. As you can see, some of them are very dry and ready to get shelled. Some are going to need to dry out a little bit. But these plants were still producing. There's some with blossoms, some that still had beans growing. So for these, Steve and I have just been picking them off and eating them like this. We have another batch right behind us that's still growing. That was our late plant. We're gonna let those keep going, and hopefully we'll be able to get some more beans before we get a hard frost. Well, we're going around getting the beds cleaned out, but Steve is also raking up in between. And this year was a rough year for keeping the aisles between the garden clean. We had a lot of rain. You can see here our mulch just got completely washed away. And then we ended up with a lot of grass and weeds growing up in the aisles. And we live, if I point up, out in the woods with lots and lots of oak trees and maple trees. And the color is beautiful in the fall, but they're also always dropping their acorns from the oak trees, and everything starts growing. We get maple trees growing in the garden beds. And for next year, we decided we're just kind of done with having to worry about the mulch washing away and the expense of replacing the mulch every year. So we're going to try some new things next year, and we'll bring you along on those projects probably in the spring. As we're cleaning out our garden beds, we often find sour grass, aka wood sorrel, in the beds. Now our chickens love this, so as we're cleaning the beds out, we're just going to take this and keep it aside and give it to the chickens when we're done here as a treat. We're putting together a few frames for some bonnets that we have, just to keep some of our kitchen garden plants a little safer as the frost starts to hit. These are the kitchen beds right up by the house, and we actually still have strawberries coming in our strawberry bed, but we're not worried about that. The bed next to us is where our lettuce is coming up, and we wanted to have that covered. And then if you follow me this way, our asparagus has gone by. We've got that mostly cleaned up. Here we have our beets. Steve takes a peek in there. You can see our beets are doing well, and we don't want those to get frosted, so we decided to put a bonnet over those. And then here we have our last growth of potatoes in this bed, so we decided to cover those as well. So we took apart one of the covers we had in the front garden that we weren't worried about, used those with some extra parts we had to get these done, and let's show you where we ended up in the front garden. So these are our figs. We actually still have a few small figs on there that never got big enough. Don't think they're going to make it this year, but the figs are doing well. These are Chicago hardy figs. And the bed in the back is where our elephant garlic is going to be getting planted this year, but that's a separate video. So here we still have herbs that we need to pick. I've got oregano, nasturtiums. The lemon balm is pretty much done for this year, as is the mint and the basil. We still have chives we can pick. We still have peppers that have blossoms. Our lavender is set. I just have to finish that off. Sage still needs to be picked, and we still have blossoms on our jalapenos. So as you can see, we got a lot of the beds done. I'm not worried about our little flower bed till next year. We left the peppers and we left the beans and the peas because those are still flourishing. I'm not too worried about those. Those are a quick pull once we get our first heavy frost. But other than that, we've pretty much got the garden cleaned up. So maybe another day and we'll have this finished. Then it'll be moving on to getting the outdoor kitchen and the greenhouse taken care of. So thanks for coming along with us on our garden cleanup. As you can see, we've got some pots here that I still have to take care of and get into the house, and then get this space cleaned as well. But thank you for joining us. It's been a gorgeous day today, and we've gotten as much as we could. We'll try to get some more done another day. Remember, like and subscribe, and if you have friends who would like our videos, remember sharing our videos on your social media helps us out a lot. And until next time, everybody, take care.